Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to explain how to create a dynamic form in SharePoint using SPFx and PnP React controls. Now let's get into the video. Let's talk a little bit about the dynamic form control itself before we move into the demo. So this dynamic form is one of the controls provided by the React controls library. So what makes it special is that you don't have to manually build your form field by field. You just need to provide the list GUID and the control will automatically generate a form based on the fields and settings of that list. It even takes care of saving the data, so you don't need to write any custom logic for these form submissions. This is really useful because it saves development time. No need to map every single column to the React component. It follows your SharePoint list and library settings, meaning if you have changed the field settings in the SharePoint, the form respect those automatically. It works for both list and libraries. So you can see for the library also it created a form. So you can use it in different scenarios like item creation, metadata forms, or even custom document library forms. Let's discuss some of the key properties for this dynamic form. We will usually work with it. So the first one is the context. For this context, we need to pass our SPFX web part context and then the list ID, which is the required one. So for this list ID, we need to pass our the GUID of list or library and then list item ID. This is not required, but if we want to see the particular item details in that form, so here you can able to see the form, right? So in this form, if you want to see particular item details, then for that list item id parameter we need to pass our so for this property we need to pass the list or library item. Then disabled fields is there, which is using to make the fields read only, and then enable file selection. What it This is very useful for the document library. For example, here for the document library we also need to upload a file, right? So whenever we enable this file selection, then it allows to upload a file. And whenever we are working with the document library, enable file selection is required, and also content type will be there. Let me, so this content type id also required, so then only we can able to upload the file with some content type id. And then the file order hidden fields. So in the hidden fields we can hide certain fields from the form, and the file order control the order of the fields. And there are some callback functions also, which are the properties only, that is on submitted, on before submitted, on item loaded. So this on submitted is a callback. After the form is successfully saved, it will be calling. And on cancelled, we can write some logic over there like resetting the form, all those things. If we got any errors in the on submit error, we can write those logic to handle the errors. So you can go through this official documentation on the dynamic form control in the PnP React controls. So how we can use it is we just need to simply import this statement, and then within this is the control dynamic form. So whatever we discussed, you can see all those properties they have mentioned over here. And one more thing, to use this control we have to download one statement, that is here npm install @pnp slash spfx hyphen control react. So when we run this one, it will allow us to use the PnP React controls. Now let's get, and before we start implementation, I already done one example. So let me show you that one. So here in this SPFX training SharePoint site, I have a asset request SharePoint list, which is having some fields like title, requester name, asset type, description, everything. Now here I am running the form. So here you can see it is automatically created the title, asset type, documentation along with the icons. You can able to see, right? Even though the choice values are coming, and this is the date picker, we can choose the date. And requester name, which is a person field, if I search for one person, you can able to see it will come automatically. So without this dynamic form control we can also build this type of form, but that time we have to create See, for text input control and this choice drop down control, so we need to manually take all the import all the controls, and we need to create one form. Within that we need keep all this one, and even though the save and cancel also will work. Now let's see how to do this one. I already created this solution, but for explanation, again I will start creating. Now in this training videos SPFx example folder, I'm opening the command prompt. Now let me create a directory for this solution. So I will provide dynamic form control. After creating the directory, we need to run yo @Microsoft /SharePoint. So when we run this command, it will ask us some questions to create the solution for us. Now it is asking what is your solution name. By clicking the enter, you can take this default name, or if you want you can change it. Now we are going to create one web part. Now it is asking what is your web part name. Let me provide PnP dynamic form control, and then it is asking which template you would like to use. So this PnP React controls are using React, so it's better to use the React framework. I'm using the React one. Now it will take some time to create a solution for us. Okay, now the solution created successfully, and then once it is created we need to run one command. So as I said, to use that PnP React controls we need to run this one. So I'm copying this and pasting here. Let me click on enter. Once it will download, we will see how to import the dynamic form control and provide the list GUID. So it will create the form. Okay, it is also got installed correctly. Now provide code space dot. So it will take us to the VS Code. So we can see the code over here. So in under the source folder, you can see the web parts. So here we are going to use the context property, right? Because for this dynamic form control, this context is required. By default it is not there. We just need to write some code for this. So in this one here you can see this is the in this .ts file. Under this render method we are passing some properties to the component. So in this React component will take those properties using the this dot props. So in this props only we will try to provide our context. So for that what we will do, in this there is a props.ts file under this component. Here we will create that one. Let me click on this one. You just need to write a command like import. It is auto suggesting web part context from the @Microsoft /sp web part base. So let me choose accept this one. After importing, I will create one prop named context. So for this context, I am passing this web part context. So we can get the details about the current site. Now we created this context. So in the .ts file, we can see one error because whatever we mentioned in the props, we also need to provide the value for this. So here we just initialized this context with web part context, and now we need to provide the value. So context colon this dot context, which means for this class, this indicates for this class we are creating this context. Now we can use this context in the .tsx file because it is a React component, so it is passing the properties to this React component. Now there is a basic code, it is there. Now we will remove all these things. This div element is not required for us, and also this properties we will remove, and I will show you how to use that property here. Let me remove these styles also. This line also not needed. And one more thing, to test this solution, under this config folder you can see the server.json. By defaultly in this initial page parameter tenant domain is there. For testing we need to provide our own site URL. So here let me choose this site. I'm copying this one. I'm pasting over here. Now in this .tsx file, we will import that dynamic form control from React. So for that one, let me go here. I will copy this one. I'm pasting here. Now we imported. So after this one, what we need to do here, they have only given this dynamic form. So I will copy this, and in the render method I will try to provide that one. So in this context you can able to see we have provided this dot props dot context. So this context is taken from that props, and then the list id. So the sample list id they have provided. Now we will take one list id from the SharePoint list. So previously I have done this asset request, right? Let me take any another SharePoint list. So I will take this active projects. So this is one list which is having these fields. Let me go to the settings to get the GUID for this active projects. So I click on this list settings. So in this URL you can see list equal to percentage 7b, it is there, right? So exclude this percentage 7b at starting and also percentage 70 at ending. Remaining thing only you just copy it, and copying. Now in this list id I am pasting here, and then this is the list item id. So by defaultly the id one, whatever the element is there, that item details will be present in the form, and on cancel nothing will be shown. When we click console will display this message. Also this on submit error, if error is there one alert will come. On submitted also we are not performing any actions, it will just simply display the data whatever present in that. Now by default, this error will come. When we run the gulp it will automatically go. Now I will try to run the gulp. Now here you can see automatically it opens. You can check that whenever we got reload over here. Till now we didn't get. Okay, now here you can see the reload. So let me reload it once. If we see that reload, then only it will come here. So now under the local you can use see PnP dynamic form control. Let me click on it. So now I got this type of error. That is because in this code you can see for the list item ID I have provided one, right? So in the SharePoint list, if we go back here in the ID field, you can see there is no item one. So someone is deleted that one. So that's why it is showing this error. Let me add. So with the item ID 3, we have some data, right? So I will put that one over here instead of 1. Let me save it. Once we save, we just come back here and refresh it. It will open the form with that details. Okay, now here you can see that item 3 employee onboarding app, right? So same the title and the project owner. So whatever the fields present in this SharePoint list, all it is showing in the form. Let me update some data over here. So now the project owner is Grady Arc, right? Let me change this to Lydia, and also I will change this one testing. Let me save this now. After saving, we didn't write, it will save, but it is not, we didn't write any logic for refreshing the site. So come here and just refresh it, and now you can see the title is changed with the testing which I added, and also the project owner changed to the Lydia Holloway. So it is updating the existing item. If you want this form as a new form, then simply hide this comment this list item id. Now since there is no list item id, it will open a new form. So after doing this, save the changes, and here just refresh it one more time, and now here you can see the form is came, right, but with no data. Now we can able to provide some data over here, and whenever we click save button, it will save as a new item. Let me preview it, and I will provide some data. So this active projects, right? I'm just providing some sample data. So start date I will choose today, and end due date I will choose 30th, and status is pending. Let me click on the save. So it is clicked, right, and here when we refresh it, you can see the project one testing it is added. So this way you can just simply provide the list id for this list id property, then it will only automatically creates one dynamic for that SharePoint list. I hope you understand how to use that PnP React dynamic form control in SPFx to create a dynamic form. And thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel.